Welcome back to Raymondo Lee Travel. Today we're heading into the beautiful Cheshunt Country Park in Hertfordshire. Whether you're planning a relaxing walk, a family day out, or just looking to explore new parts of the UK, this park has a little something for everyone. So let's hit the trail and take in the sights together. I just noted this building. It looks like an old mill or something. It's got a cog on the wall there. We're walking this way, which is the easy access trail. As you can see, it's very picturesque. It's very beautiful. Well, I don't think the parrots, but you can hear them now. So Ermine Street was Roman equivalent of our M1 motorway leading from London to York. When Channel 4's Time Team visited Cheshunt Park in June 2001, they found a section of Ermine Street running through the park. Here was evidence of workshops and a brewery, suggesting the presence of a Roman version of the modern motorway service station. A small settlement developed to service the needs of the army, which led to the beginning of the modern Cheshunt. Ermine Street continued to be used as a main road after the Romans left. In fact, we still use parts of it today, just as King Harold did in 1066 when he marched his troops along this road to victory over the Vikings near York, before returning south to be defeated by the Normans at the Battle of Hastings. So this park was a royal park, and it's likely that Norman kings used it for deer hunting and was created around the 1100s. The park remained in the hands of royalty until the end of the Civil War in 1649, when, following his victory, Oliver Cromwell paid his army by dismantling the royal estates. Since then, the park has dramatically reduced in size. Oliver Cromwell's great-grandson, also called Oliver, took over the estate in 1795. So now I'm walking you down to a pillbox. There's a pillbox down here from the Second World War, I do believe. Another lovely wild meadow. This pillbox actually in one piece. Usually when we see these, they're covered by sand. They were used in the Second World War, Jasmine. And first thing I want to show you is the image of the actual pillbox and what it looked like inside. So you can get some sort of idea. It's locked up, you can't get in it. It's a locked... Yeah, it's locked up. It's a locked up pillbox. Oh yeah, Second World War pillbox. This pillbox is a remnant of the Outer London defence ring developed during the Second World War. It formed part of a series of structures, ditches and rivers that would have served as the last line of defence against German invasion. Today it has been converted into a safe retreat in which bats can hibernate. Now, interestingly, during the war, armed troops and volunteers from the Home Guard, which my great-grandfather was in, manned pillboxes like this day and night, waiting to repel an invasion that never actually came, obviously, as we know. The building is fortified with reinforced concrete roof and walls built for protection against bombs. At the top of the orchid field there's another pillbox which is slightly larger, and there's a gun turret also somewhere around there, not quite sure where. So the bats that basically hibernate in here, Jasmine, you wouldn't obviously see them, but they weigh about the same as a £1 coin. Do you know how many insects they eat a night?
1 million.
No, not 1 million. 3,000 insects every night. And that's obviously when they're not in hibernation. So bats need somewhere with stable temperature and humidity to hibernate during the cold winter weather. And because these are buried partly below ground with thick walls, pillboxes make ideal places for bats to hibernate. If you didn't know, very interesting. So now we're having a nice little walk up through the park. You can imagine this being way vaster when the king had it as his estate. I just want to show you the view from up here. Beautiful. And it's just green as far as the eye can see. It's very picturesque. These purple flowers, beautiful. There's possibly a war memorial of some kind that's a bit ruined. Oh, interesting. So I've got to show you, there's basically a timeline amphitheatre here which shares 2,000 years of British history from beneath your feet. So where Shelley is pointing the camera, this is AD 43 to 450, and the Romans rested here from journeys along Ermine Street, the Roman road from London to York, with London being a day's march away, and springs providing fresh water. A small settlement began, and the origin of the modern Cheshunt. Next one up is 1066, and in 1066 to 1154, King Harold used Ermine Street in 1066 to march his army to victory against the Vikings near York, before returning south to be defeated by William the Conqueror at the Battle of Hastings. Next up we have 1339 to 1500. Deer were kept here by the gentry and hunted for sport. The Cheshunt Park of today is just a small part of what was a huge deer park. Next up is 1500 to 1600. Farmers ploughed these fields with oxen, creating ridge and furrow. Look out for rippled patterns in the fields around the pond, evidence that these fields had been grasslands for around 200 years. Next one is 1651 to 1642. Charles I was the last king to live at the nearby royal estate, Theobald's Palace, which is now Cedars Park, which included Cheshunt Park. However, following his victory in the Civil War, Oliver Cromwell paid his army by dismantling the royal estates. Around 200 years later, Cromwell's great-grandson built a house called Branty Shnege here. I probably said that completely wrong. So the next one is 1865 to 1968. Branty and Guichet was the Debenham family home from 1865 to 1968. The new amphitheatre has been built on the site of the old house, which was demolished in 1970. And then 1918 to 1968, fruit trees were once planted extensively across the estate. Now an area of orchid has been replanted with local varieties of apples, pears, plums and gagers. The grassland around the trees is managed with periodic visits from longhorn cattle, a traditional British breed. And then 1968 to today, Cheshunt Park became public open space following the death of Phyllis Debenham, the last of the Debenham family, in 1968. So that's the history of this area, and that's the look at the amphitheatre. And if Shelley pans the camera around, you can have a look at the views. And then we have what looks like a war memorial bench, so we'll check that out in a second. So yeah, quite unique. There's a war memorial bench here. No war memorial. But we do have a bench for one, so that's very nice anyway. So this is the little pond here in Cheshunt Park that they have been working on to restore. So this had the, like I've just mentioned, the restoration work done, and what they've basically done to it is it was full of leaves. The trees had basically shed a lot of leaves and there ended up being a lot of silt, and there was a lot of tree cover over the actual pond. So they chopped back some of the trees and got rid of a lot of the silt at the bottom of the pond and opened it up so now it gets a bit of sunlight. So apparently the trees were planted in around, well, I believe 19th century, but they're saying that this is actually possibly an ancient pond from the medieval times, hence what I mentioned about the Romans and the Roman site that was here. So there's always been a pond around this area of some description, or a small spring. But yeah, beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. Right, the wind's really picked up now, but I just want to tell you about this place. So this is actually a little memorial garden. You notice they put in bird boxes all around it. And I'll just show you. There's a board which tells you about it. And they basically planted trees, or they've attached, they've dedicated the trees to different people, which I think is really interesting. And that wraps up our walk around Cheshunt Country Park, a peaceful and scenic place for locals and visitors alike. If you enjoyed this tour, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more walking adventures, and hit that bell so you never miss a future upload. Until next time, from coast to castle, field to tree, explore it all with Raymondo Lee.